Welcome everybody to the Alternative Sports Show, powered by Virgin Magazine. I'm Matthew Connell, joined with Andre Dixon, as always, and it is the afternoon after the night before, of course. The sporting world is in mourning because of what happened with England in the Euros finals, but nevertheless, there is always cricket, and thanks to LV Insurance. Isa Guha, how are you doing?
I'm okay. Much like both of you, I'm sure you're feeling a little bit deflated after last night, but
Absolutely.
We've got two amazing England teams playing this week, the women and the men in cricket, and the women are leading the series at the moment, and The men, they're against Pakistan. So all is good in the world.
We can't complain. Look, I think, football has definitely dominated the airways, but of course the cricket has been absolutely, like you said, it's been so positive, both on the men's and women's sides. And of course, we've got the Olympics coming up as well. So we've got lots to look forward to. And of course, also we've got the 100, which is starting in July 21st. And of course, Isha, you're going to be a part of that broadcast as well. So for our audience, we've got a real mix of of sports lovers, of yourself that have played at the highest level for England. How excited are you to see something like the 100 be a part of the cricketing calendar?
Yeah, for me, it's really exciting. I love all formats of cricket at the moment, but how cool to be part of something that's fresh and new and the first of its kind anywhere around the world. It's great because it's got the women and the men playing side by side under the same sort of brand or the same team. And we've got some of the best players in the world playing with and against each other as well. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, it's new. So tactically, I'm really looking forward to that as someone who loves cricket, but also to bring in the new fan as well, to try and encourage more people who may not have taken a look at cricket before to come and watch our wonderful game and to see what the fuss is all about.
Well, and what would it be, do you feel? Because of course of cricket, it's loved, it's massively loved in our country, but it definitely feels like one of those sports that can always do with growth and transition. And this certainly feels it from your experience, spending the last kind of 10 years in and amongst this sport and beyond that. What do you think it is that cricket needs to do to engage with the new fan and to continue that growth? Because it's certainly for me, as someone that has never traditionally been, I've always been more like a football and a rugby kind of guy. How do you see that? How do you think there's opportunity for growth in cricket?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, unlike in India and Australia, where cricket is the number one sport, we are competing with other sports like football and rugby. It's not the number one sport in the country. So you're always having to find ways of trying to engage with that audience who may, traditionally go directly to football. I think traditionally as well, people may have looked at cricket as something for those from a wealthy background. But it's not the case. Anyone can pick up a bat and ball, and there are many different cricket offerings out there to get involved in the sport. There are pathways there as well, and it's trying to get that message across that it is a game for everyone. It is inclusive. We have one of the most diverse by way of representation in terms of ethnically diverse communities in our sport. When you think of the South Asian population, 30% of the playing population comes from a South Asian background. That there's a real drive to engage the Black communities as well. And I think both men and women, the number of girls playing the sport now is incredible. And that has just thrived in the last 4 or 5 years. With all that support from the governing body and grassroots and all the different organisations getting behind women's sport, I think, it's all kind of coming together at the same time. And I think one real driver of trying to get out to the masses was the fact that the Women's Cricket World Cup back in 2017 was played to a sold-out crowd at Lord's. And the crowd there were just completely different to any crowd that might have turned up to a men's international. And I think that's where the ECB realised that actually, that there are different ways of getting people into our sport.
You've had an incredible career, for England and Berkshire. How was the transition into broadcasting? And, is there anyone you seek advice from to be able to help with that transition?
Yeah, it all kind of came out of nowhere, really. ITV got in touch with me because they needed someone to work on that Indian Premier League coverage, which was this new, fun, exciting tournament. And look where it's gone now. Probably the best T20 league in the world. And the main presenter at the time had fallen pregnant. So I just thought, oh, they're going to get me in as a pundit. I've done a little bit of that before, but actually, no, it was, you're going to do a little screen test. We think you can do it. Why don't you come in and do 2 weeks as a presenter, sitting alongside Mark Pugach and Matt Smith. And I, at the time, just thought they were taking the mick. I sort of laughed at it. And I realised they were being serious, and I was like, oh my God, okay. And I've always been one for, taking myself out of a comfort zone. And if there's been an opportunity where I haven't tried it before, I've always wanted to do it. So I just try to embrace it. I never thought of broadcasting as a career because, I just didn't think I was good enough. And I really wasn't. I was so wooden and horrible at the start. Not like how you guys are, you're absolute pros. But it's the modern world now with social media. Everyone is their own presenter. When you go on Instagram or on Twitter or whatever, everyone is doing their own videos, and it's actually taken me a while to actually feel comfortable doing that. But I think, it's just taken a little while to get to the point that I am now. And I think maybe it was 6 years ago where I genuinely believed that I could do it, not just as a presenter, but as a commentator, because I think my voice has changed drastically as well. And just feeling confident and feeling like I belong has been a bit of a journey. And there have been many people that I've kind of talked to over the years and that I've worked with. And I love being able to work in different environments, because you get to see how different people operate. You kind of sponge all the information off those people who have already been successful. And you kind of try and find your own method as well in and amongst that. So, one of the biggest lessons I was taught was don't try and be someone else. Even though I would watch a lot of people on television and say, oh, that was cool, like I really liked what he or she did there. It all just kind of shapes how you want to be as a broadcaster.
Yeah, well, don't worry about anything. You've got us beat completely as presenters. Very smooth. So I'm taking notes off of you and I'm copying you. So I'm going to break that rule. But just wondering, like, I'll put you on the spot on something. Like, who excites you, as players in the men's and women's game currently?
Yeah, there's quite a few. There's so many box office cricketers, honestly. Ben Stokes is right up there. Literally, he plays you want to watch. Jofra Archer, love watching him play. The women's game, Nat Siver, Heather Knight, because she's a mate.
Good plug.
I've loved what Sophia Dunkley has brought to the table since she's come into the side.
She's great, yeah.
And I look at the Indian cricketers. I love Virat Kohli, obviously. Rishabh Pant is one of the most exciting cricketers in the world. I love what he's doing in Test cricket. Just makes it so much more exciting. A lot of the Aussies, I can appreciate that kind of X factor player all around the globe. I mean, the Aussies, the team from the West Indies, they're amazing to watch. You've got some incredible players coming out of South Africa. And it is, it's those players that have that bit of sparkle about them and have the ability to kind of balance that kind of swagger with being humble. I think that is my ultimate cricketer.
We've been very lucky. I mean, we've spoken to the likes of, Sophia Dunkley, Elise Perry, Sarah Glenn. We've been learning, and I think that's a great thing. I think we are starting to get more through social media, is getting to know the personalities better, which has been so great and helps to the growth, because then we find ways to attach to these, great men and women, attach to the teams and learn more about the sport. And we've put them on the spot saying, I've seen where you've been at on Instagram lately. But I was curious to know, what sports are you personally a fan of? What do you like to look out for as an athlete? Of course, I'm sure you find lots of many ways to appreciate other athletes.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I do. I just appreciate people playing at the highest level because I know what it's taken to get there and to stay there as well. There's an incredible amount of sacrifice that it takes. I love watching the Olympics. I mean, I followed a lot of players' journeys because I used to train with quite a lot of Olympians at Bisham Abbey in Marlow. So I would watch them train. I mean, they were all lifting like 4 times the weight as I was, or maybe more than that. But yeah, just seeing how they all operate and then getting to see them on the big stage during the Olympics. Yeah, love Wimbledon, love the tennis. But yeah, I guess my life has revolved generally around cricket. I played a bit of badminton when I was younger. And football, I only generally watch when England play. So I was getting right behind them in this corner.
I know.
You know, I do like, you know, dipping into league football every now and then, but I just feel like unless I really know about a sport, I kind of get into it. And I'm also, you know, I'm constantly asking questions about, you know, tactics and stuff like that. Yeah, cricket is the one for me. And to be honest, it does take up a lot of time because there's so much cricket going on all around the world that you feel like you need to be on it as a broadcaster working the sport.
The last little segment from us before we ride off into the sunset, Isha. You know, as you said, as a broadcaster and as we're learning throughout the pandemic, where we've been Zoom interviewing many a talent, you know, it's important to get your research done, and you find yourself engrossed in these sports. And for yourself, on a downtime outside of your world of cricket, we like to ask our guests a little bit more about them personally. So, if you do find a time, what does Isha watch? What do you do on a Netflix or Amazon? What series are you getting stuck into? What is getting your eye at the moment?
Yeah, haven't had a lot of time, if I'm honest, to watch a massive backlog list of things that I need to watch and read. Loved Westworld.
Yeah, great series.
Saw that, just kind of dystopian future, futuristic vibes, but I just loved it. I love the concept of it. And the acting I thought was amazing. Just storylines that you follow there. What else? The Last Dance. I'm sure everyone pretty much watched that. But I found that fascinating to see Michael Jordan and the way he operated and his intense desire to win, but also bring his team with him.
That's incredible.
Of losing friendships. You know, I see that in a lot of athletes, and it's getting that balance, isn't it, between trying to bring everyone with you but not being a complete dick.
Yeah. It's a fine art. It's a fine art, that.
And so I do actually find that fascinating. I love the kind of psychological element of all of that stuff. What else? Music is a massive passion of mine. So I've really missed live music. And so that's why I'm really looking forward to having live music at venue at the 100 Games.
So you read my mind there, because I was thinking, okay, you know what, we was try to. This is the most important question of the whole interview. Now, what is arguably now? What is the song that you love, anthem or artist that you're listening to that you know gets you going before any major event?
Boom.
I told you.
No, it's too hard a question.
Because we need a song to put on our playlist.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a massive Jimi Hendrix fan.
Nice. Love it.
Nice.
So
you could pick any of those songs. That's
yeah. I mean, all of them.
You've already smashed everyone else.
You can literally just hand pick like 10 plus songs and be like, that's
you
a pretty
you choose which Jimi Hendrix one you play.
Yeah. That's what I want to know as well is because you said you've just been watching The Last Dance, which is amazing. You know, have you started to say, and I take that personally, in your day-to-day life?
Who doesn't?
No, but I think about it.
It's a phrase that I think lives rent-free in all our heads now these days. It's become iconic. But nevertheless, Isa Guha, thank you so much for stopping by to chat to us, to get us excited about cricket. I think we've got some pretty good playlist tips there, names to look out for. We're very much looking forward to watching you on our screen. So thank you very, very much for stopping by to chat to us.
Thanks, Matthew. Thanks, Andre. Great to be on.